It was a long time ago, summer of 1969, just after school let out. I was 13 that summer, 13 and all bones and elbows, like most boys who'd grown faster than their appetites. I had a mop of sun-bleached hair, skinned knees that never quite healed, and the kind of boundless imagination that made grown men sigh and shake their heads. It was the summer of the moon. All across America, people were craning their necks to the sky, waiting for July 20th, waiting to see if Armstrong and Aldrin would really step out onto the lunar surface. But me? I had my eyes set on a different piece of sky, a smaller one, stitched together by two bicycle mechanics from Dayton, Ohio. I'd read about them in an old encyclopedia we had at school. Wilbur and Orville Wright, the first men to fly. Not astronauts, not scientists, just brothers, tinkerers, boys with grease on their hands and too many ideas. And that made something click inside me. If those two could change the world in a bike shop, then maybe I could start something just by standing where they once stood. So one quiet morning in late June, I stuffed a peanut butter sandwich, 2 apples, and my worn copy of Tom Swift and his Sky Racer into a hand-me-down backpack, climbed onto my battered red Schwinn, and pointed the front wheel west, toward Dayton, toward the past. I didn't ask permission. I just told my mom I was going out for a ride, and she, busy with laundry and the million small duties of raising a house full of Whitakers, barely looked up from her clothesline. "Back by supper," she said. I nodded, knowing full well I wouldn't be. The road was rough and long. 30 miles doesn't sound like much now, but when you're 13 and your legs are twigs, when your bike chain skips and the seat is half wrapped in duct tape, it might as well be across the Rockies. I pedaled through sleepy farmland and rustling cornfields, past barns painted with peeling advertisements for chewing tobacco and motor oil. I got chased by a mean-looking collie near Enon and nearly run off the road by a milk truck driven by a man with a cigarette clamped between his lips and zero patience for dreamers. By hour 3, my thighs were burning. The peanut butter sandwich was long gone, and the sun had begun its slow, punishing descent. But I kept going. Something was pulling me forward, some invisible string tied to a story older than I could understand. When I finally reached West 3rd Street in Dayton, the city looked nothing like I'd pictured. It was quieter, smaller. The sidewalks cracked and uneven, the storefronts half forgotten. But there it was, the Wright Cycle Company. Just a dusty red brick building tucked between a deli and a parking lot, with a crooked little sign that read, "Wright and Wright, Bicycle Makers." There wasn't a soul around. No gift shop, no guided tours, no velvet ropes. Just me in that building. I leaned my Schwinn against the wall and sat down on the curb, pulling my second apple from my bag and biting into it slowly. I stared at the windows and tried to imagine the brothers inside, laughing, arguing, sketching wings and gears in the dim light. I didn't go in. I didn't need to. I just sat there, in the shadow of history, letting it wrap around me, letting it change me. After a while, I noticed a small pebble near the gutter, smooth and gray and completely ordinary. I picked it up and slipped it into my pocket. For luck, I told myself, though part of me felt like I was carrying home a piece of something sacred. The ride home was brutal. Halfway back, storm clouds rolled in like a slow-moving army, and I was soaked through by the time I reached the edge of Springfield. The wind pushed against me like it was daring me to give up. But I didn't. I laughed, wild and half delirious, The kind of laugh that only makes sense when you're 13 and stupid and alive. When I walked in the front door, dripping, shivering, my backpack soggy and my shoes squelching with every step, my mom looked up from the kitchen and froze. Then she sighed, handed me a towel, and said, "Next time bring a map." She made me a grilled cheese and hot tomato soup, and we didn't talk much. She didn't ask where I'd been, and I didn't tell her. But I think she knew. Somehow I think she always knew. That little pebble from Dayton. It's still on my desk, right beside a photo of a younger me with skinned knees and a wild grin. And when people ask why I kept a rock from a cracked sidewalk in Ohio, I just smile and say, because it's where flight began.